Okay, I think the thumbnail pretty well says it all. Supermicro has had a magnificent week, a storied week, a difficult week, an interesting week. They're up 52% since they issued this document that said that they were taking out or converting their debt to convertible shares, and they added over 61 million convertible shares that they put in a box somewhere and said, okay, we will convert these to shares, active on-market shares, as soon as certain prices are met with the stock. Well, the first price that was supposed to be met has been met. And so as a result of that, we will experience, I would think, within the next several days, a roughly 2% dilution of the shares. But the market doesn't seem to care. The market is pushing the stock up, and it will probably, it looks like now, reach the second element of convertible shares, and more shares will come to market, and it will create a even greater dilution of the shares up to about 11.3%. It's all there on the thumbnail, but I want to take you through this so that you understand exactly what has happened, what will happen, and what I think will happen, and how we as investors can either buy, sell, or hold based upon the knowledge that we have. So I've created this dilution impact analysis on SMCI, and I'll just give you something of a look at it. It's basically saying that if the full conversion occurs before 28 and 29, that the full number of shares that will be brought into market on the top of the current shares that are on market is about 61,499,000 new shares. That the first part of it probably will happen. If it hasn't happened already, that was 12,086,000 shares that were converted as a result of Supermicro's price surpassing $57.91.5. As of this time, it's at $59 a share. So it's my vision that those shares were transferred to the lender. The lender now can take them to market and sell them to you and I for $59 a share, and actually make more than the 50% premium that they had in place. That would, as I understand it, take that $700 million off of Supermicro's balance sheet from a debt to a paid off. And in essence, what they did was they transferred that $700 million debt, which they hold, to the shareholders, and it diluted the stock by roughly 2%. Now, what's now left is the convertible note that is due to mature in 2029 for what I estimate to be $3.91 billion. Now, that will convert to shares automatically if, in fact, the stock gets to $79.15 per share. That will put another 49,412,508 new shares into the market. It will, the debtor will then probably sell those shares, recapturing the money that they lent to, the $3.9 billion that they lent to Supermicro, and transfer that debt to the shareholders. And that will result in an overall new shares of 61 million. No, the 100,000. Yeah, 61,999,187 new shares, which will result in diluting the shareholders' shares by approximately, what is it, 11%, 11.3%. Now, this was kind of explained to us in the earnings call when Charles said we are gearing down our projections for the next quarter, because Charles recognized that there's a good chance that we will have an increase in price over the $79.15, and all these shares will come to market, which will, as I say, dilute the shareholders' earnings per share by 11%. And that's why he said next quarter's earnings per share will not be as they have been in the past, because he anticipated this happening. I did not. I will be honest, I did not. I saw what it was. I did not think the shareholders, particularly the institutional shareholders, would say, okay, we'll take your loans. The other thing you got to realize is it looks to me the Supermicro will walk away from this with no debt, because he transferred that debt to us, the shareholders. I'm not a shareholder at this point. I've got to make that decision. But nonetheless, kudos to Charles and his staff. They've pulled what I think is a phenomenal turnaround on this stock. So now the other thing that is in question, as I have mentioned in the prior videos that I did, here is where they are. And if you haven't seen them, I would suggest you go back and listen to them, because it'll give you the whole picture. Supermacros had a storied past. They were delisted back in 2020, I believe it was, and they are due to be delisted if they do not file their 10K and their 10Q, I believe, this next week on the 25th of February. But I am quite certain, or no, I shouldn't say that. I would surmise that these debtors who lent them this total of, what would it be, somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 billion, $4.6 billion in debt, they said, look, we aren't going to go down this road with you if you don't file those papers on those reports with the SEC and the NASDA on February the 25th. So I would be willing to bet that will happen. And then the next hurdle that Supermicro has to take or jump is the $79.15 share price. If it hits that, all the convertible shares will be delivered to the debtor. The debt will be wiped clean, and then it's up to the debtor, who is now the holder of these shares, an additional 49,412,508, to then go to the market and redeem them. Because the deal was, if in fact the stock did not get to $57.91, that in 2028, Supermicro would have to have paid up $700 million. That, I believe, is off the table as of now. And then if the price does not get before 2029 to $79.15, then they will have to pay the corresponding debt, which I believe is somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.9 billion. So that's where I see the stock as of now. What do you do? Well, go back to the other videos that I told you, and you will see that Supermacro is not the most beloved stock right now amongst the hyperscalers. We know that Elon went out and bought some Dell servers and now has added to that with some HP servers. We know that, or we believe from the news we've gotten, that Amazon has cut off entirely their business with Supermacro and has chosen to instead buy the parts themselves and create the servers that they need for their business on their own. So Supermacro, but on the other hand, we have to recognize that there is a shortage of these servers, and Supermicro has expanded its market beyond the shores of the United States, even some rumors that they are selling some to Russia, which could create some additional problems. I just got to believe that if that in fact is true, that Donald and Elon will be knocking on their door and saying, hey, you're breaking the United States law, and we're going to whatever. So keep those things in mind. I am making no recommendations at this point. I will take this document that I have created that explains this and explain what my key takeaways are. That will be on my website. This is, quite honestly, I enjoyed this so much. This is the avenue I'm going to pursue as a YouTube financial analyst. I'm going to focus on individual stocks. I'm not going to play the news game. You've got plenty of people who will wake you up in the morning and tell you this stock is going through the roof. No, what I want to do in the future is take those stocks that I believe have some potential and deep dive into them as I have on this, and then take the analysis that I've done, the conclusions I've come to, the key takeaways, and post those on my website adjacent to my cheat sheet and my 3-year projection and my portfolio. So those people who want to participate in what I think is the biggest investment opportunity of my lifetime, and that is AI, to come to understand what is the difference between a wafer and an ASML who makes the machine that makes helps you produce the wafers, and TSMI who makes the wafers, and they're designed by people like NVIDIA, so that you understand how this ecosystem works and how they interact and how the success or failure of one influences the other. I want to bring it down to as few stocks as I can and say, this is the next 5-10 years, and this is where I want to be. Now, I think coming into this, and you can see this from some activity today or the last 3 days, is biotech is raising its head again. Now, those of you who have been with me for a while know I got the shit beat out of me from biotech 2 years ago because I was too early at the dance. But now you're seeing companies like CRISPR and Editis and Caribou and Pacific Biotech getting some action, because I think the market is recognizing that dance is going to happen. And it's going to happen as a result of artificial intelligence and the advancements that artificial intelligence will make in drug therapy, the advancements that are going to be made in the pharmaceutical industry, just by the virtue of the fact that we're going to replace those people in lab coats with petri dishes with artificial intelligence. And that's going to take what it took. I think the polio vaccine, they said it took something like 10 years. Today, with artificial intelligence, it would take 20 minutes. That's the next real thrust. That's where I'm going to divert some of my attention, because I need to recapture some of my losses that I got in those stocks a year and a half ago. Okay, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I run a tribe of people who want to understand what they own, and then understand the ramifications of the issuance of convertible shares and how that interacts with the stock market and those people who own the stocks. Okay, this has been fun. Watch all, I think it's 5 of the videos now, and I think you'll learn a lot, and maybe you'll see a reason to come join our tribe. The entry fee is, I believe, $19.95 a month, and if you can't make that, I'm sorry. Talk to you again later.